Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Next step in things on our Autopilot 136 is we're going to install the YakAttack Lever Lock HD anchor trolley system. And I'm going to be installing it from the bow to the stern on the right hand side because I cast off the left hand side of the boat. So we'll go through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes in here. We've got a backing plate, and that's going to go on the inside like so. We just bolt to it, so I'll do that now. I've screwed a just slightly larger than an 1/8 inch hole here on the back side using the pulley as my guide. Screwed that machine screw, shorter machine screw of the 2, into the backing plate that I held on the inside through the Autopilot's front hatch. So I can reach in, hold the backing plate, tightened it slightly, not like zinging tight yet. So these are our backing plates, and you'll see on them there is holes lined up for if you're using it for the actual lever lock, which would be by your seat. And then there's 2 holes that you would line up for the pulley. Anyway, so on the inside, I've lined up, because I can reach it by hand, I've lined up this hole with this hole. So this hole with this hole on the inside. Inserted my machine screw slowly. Just hand tighten until I grab the nylock nut in here on the inside. Once that was hand tight, I moved the backing plate down out of the way like this on the inside. And I've drilled another hole here. And I'm using a bit 1 size larger than 1/8. And that allows the, it's just slightly smaller than these screws. So these screws will actually thread into the plastic and create a seal. So I'm not going to bring a lot of water in. And then this backing plate is going to further create a seal so we don't get water in when we're using this. So now I've got the hole made here. I'm inserting my longer of the 2 machine screws. The shorter machine screw goes on this side of the pulley, and because we have to go through the pulley itself, we need a longer one. So the longer of the 2 is going to go through here. I'm going to line up my backing plate inside. I'm going to bring it up so it's now in line like this. On the inside, tighten them up. We can do that up front here because we can reach it. I'll do that and then we'll come right back. So I've got my pulley on the bow and we're setting this whole thing up. I've put a few of these on so far, and typically I like to run them just below this. It's a chine along the gunnel, and on this, I'm assuming the water line is below the Old Town logo. So I'm going to run it just above it along here, which is typically where we run them on most of these boats. You want it on a vertical as much as possible. So it's going to be just below the chine on the gunnel here. So I'll start setting that up and I'll show you as I go along, try and give you as much video as I can as I do it. But this is now secure and watertight, as watertight as you're going to get it without putting silicone or something, but I'm not that worried about it. So I will continue on. So, all right, so now at the stern, what we've done is we've poked our nylock nuts out of the backing plate, and we've lined it up so that where it says pulley, even though it's upside down, I want my pulley here, and I want my 1 machine screw that I'm going to use for a plug in front of it, and that's going to give me a lot of support on the back end with the torque and whatnot that my anchor is going to put on this, right? So we've lined it up. I've drilled my 3 screws so that they were aligned, and we really, like I said, we really want to be careful when we're drilling these. We want to make it as I guess at a 90 as possible and flat to the surface, so that the alignment of these machine screws to our nylock nuts when we go to tighten this up is good. Otherwise, what's going to end up happening is as I try and screw this machine screw in through the hole, I can knock this out. If it isn't perfectly aligned, I can knock the nylock nut out of my backing plate, and then I'm right up the creek. I've got to do this all over again. So we drill our holes, I've got a whole pile of this shot cord, bungee cord, whatever you want to call it, because I ordered the wrong thing once. So I've got like, well, there it is over there. I've got plenty of it. So what we do is we run a length of that in, and then I've got this handy dandy gripper thing with a light on the end of it that I got a Princess Auto. So I can reach up in there with it open, just squeeze this and it opens, and it's got a light on it, so I can kind of use my camera and that to look around. Grab the bungee, whoosh, pull it back here. You want to make sure that there's some stuff down in here, that there's some electrical stuff routed down in here. It's basically right down in here. You've got your rudder cable that runs in through, some electrical stuff to this plug right here for your battery. So you want to make sure that that's not going to interfere with the two bungees that we run. So this is bungee number 1. So I'm going to pull it up, make sure that I'm not lined up with anything. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so pull it up out. So now this bungee is lined up with the front hole. So I have to put it, I gotta look at this for a second. We want to go in through, okay, so it's going to come, it's got to come out this way and out. So I'll put it up here. My bungee's got to come through here and out, and then I tie a knot on the back side so I can pull it through really tight. It's going to come through my nylock nut and out. So when I pull it tight, it's going to pull it whoosh, up here on the inside, and it's going to line up right here. And then I'll have a second bungee running through here, which when I tighten them up will align the center hole. I can put my machine screw through. Then I can cut one of the two bungees using the other bungee that's still in there to keep it aligned while I put machine screw number 2 through. And then I cut my final bungee and put machine screw number 3 through. And that's a bullet rigging method, they call it. So when you can't reach, it's a really smart way of being able to put a backing plate in something that you can't reach. So, all right, I'm going to just attach this bungee. Then we're going to run another bungee up through and attach it to the plate. And we'll see if we can get everything aligned and attached. I'll be right back. So we attached our two bungees to the backing plate, and I've pulled it through, making sure that I aligned everything properly. And this is the way I've been doing it lately. I put in my center machine screw into the center nylock nut on this backing plate, which is, you can't really see it, but it's in there, it's lined up. I'm going to tighten this up fairly tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the back side of the pulley, that hole there, in through here after I cut this off. I'm going to tighten this, so it's going to pull that backing plate in tight. I'm going to use this to keep it aligned. And then I'll put my second one in here. So we'll do that right now. I'm going to screw this middle one in first. Hopefully that goes well. All right, so this is in the backing plate in the nylock nut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this guy off, keep this tight so everything stays aligned, and gently screw in through here to knock hopefully it's going to knock this bungee out on the inside. Actually, I'll line it up and knock it out with something else before I put my machine screw in, because I've had that bind up before, where I cut it off and then it bound up and pushed my screw out. So we'll cut that right now first. Then we will shove out the bungee. One split second, and I want to be careful that I don't knock out. I don't want to knock out the nylock nut inside there. That would be very ungood. All right, we've secured the center, cut the bungee, secured the back, cut the bungee, secured the forward one, and this is just really acting as a plug. But now that pulley on the stern is in, and I'm going to run my line here, which I've already got started. Run it through the pulley, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've run my line through my pulley back to our anchor line eye. I don't know what they call it, what a YakAttack calls it, but through the anchor line eye, I've made very similar to, if not a barrel knot here, and I will do the same here. The one thing that I'm kind of hesitant about putting a barrel knot on this side is eventually I'm going to have to tighten this up, because this is just a nylon core with a sheath on it, and it's going to stretch, and I don't want it to get too saggy. So I may tie this something a little different. I'm not sure. Or I may just do a barrel knot and work with it when I need to get it undone later. So anyway, this clips up in. The whole intent of the lever lock system, this doesn't hold the weight of the anchor. It's just a guide with which the anchor line goes through, so that it is the fixed point that you can move, that the anchor is going to attach to. So if I want to, let's say, have my bow down a river in current, I can put it off to the stern. My anchor line is going to come through this from bottom up through this, and then do whatever I'm going to use to secure my anchor line to, probably a cleat or something like that, or an anchor wizard or something to that effect. Now I've got to be careful. If I go too tight, it's going to do what it's doing right now and stay up top here, but it clips in when not in use into the bottom of the lever lock, like so. And then once you put it where you want it so that it will not move on you, you lock this, and that's the whole, thus the name lever lock, and it clamps on the inside here to the rope, and now I can't move it. So it's quite effective little system in that regard. So I will put a barrel knot, and then maybe tomorrow we can put our pad eyes in. I might loosen this a little bit, because it's running up higher than I want. So let me loosen ever so slightly. All right, we're at the next day. I'll just show you some updates here. So I have taken the tape off our Kydex strip. It is very secure, really secure. I actually think I might have trouble getting it off if I ever need to. Super hard plastic, saving that linear polyethylene on the bow here. This is one of the more popular anchor trolleys on the market for good reason. It's a quality product, and it can be securely fastened to your boat with these backing plates. So we've got these guys all in place. I'm going to tighten my line up a little bit. I'm missing one of these. I lost it yesterday. I have no idea where it is, so I might have to talk to YakAttack and get one more, which would go right about here. We'd have full support on it. So there's that. That's done. I haven't peeled off the stuff on the back here yet. Let's do that now. Just have a look at what we got going on. That's what I had left over from one sheet, so it gives you an idea. 12 by 24 sheets is what they came in. Yeah, all right. Far out, man. So, it's the skid plate on the bottom. Done. Okay, what else have we done? We mounted some stuff for trolling. Mounted the harness, or whatever you call it, the bracket for our 95 SV. There we go. So I can swap, I take the head off, have the two transducers, one on this boat, and then one over on the John boat. And all I got to do is take the head off, put it in, swap back and forth, and I didn't need two complete heads, which is a lot of money. We're taking this, I think I'm going to mount it on the bow for videoing. And we've got one on the stern already, which is out of the way. Because I've got a pan optics coming, live view, that I want to put off the side here. Either this side or this side. I might put it over there. We'll see. But I think moving the camera up front is going to be more viable. We have untaped our skid plates. They look good. The only thing I see out of both of them is just a little bit of an opening here. So I might run a little bit of caulking here, just to keep water from going down inside of that. Our 56 transducers on in, wired into the hull. I've got to pull it up through here yet. I'm going to have to put three wires, pan optics, power, and the 56 transducer up through here to the back of the head here. All right, so that's that. So power's got to come up through here. A bunch of stuff's got to come up through here. Move this up forward. Pan optics over on that side, I think, because that's what I'm going to be fishing on that side. Got to figure out a way, if you're watching this and you have a way, or you've got a I want to secure a 30 amp hour battery down in the hall. And I've seen there's some boxes and things. And I don't know if people are Velcroing the box in the hall. But if you've got ideas, I'm all ears. That's going to be for the power pole, the Panoptics, which is going to take a lot of power. So it's going to be 30 amp hour. And that's going to power all this stuff. So if you've got ideas, I've got ears. Give me a shout. Other than that, we're pretty well finished up for stuff that I have here right now. I got more stuff coming to finish it off, but stay tuned for those the other things that are coming, like the black pack that's going back here and this massive opening. There'll be that and a few other things that I'll add on and finish off. So stay tuned.